because you think the guy you root for the president who walks out on that mound, which
Right.
is a big deal.
Right.
The mound's maybe 2-3 feet above the rest of the ground, so it's a very different thing to throw from that to the catcher. It's quite a distance, right?
Yeah.
So you see these presidents, and they're not all athletically gifted people.
Right. Right.
Some of them are quite silly.
Hi there, and welcome into a brand new week of Celebrity Salute, dedicated to the men and women who serve our country in active duty, our veterans and their families. We're here for you. God bless you. We love you. On each episode, we look for people and stories with some connection to these heroes. I'm Randy Miller. Oscar winner Jon Voight is back with us. He's won the Academy Award for Best Actor in a Leading Role for his role as paraplegic Vietnam War veteran Luke Martin in the great war film, Coming Home. He's also been nominated for that same award 2 other times. He was first nominated for his role as aspiring gigolo Joe Buck in Midnight Cowboy in 1969. He was last nominated for the award for his role as escaped convict Oscar Manny Mannheim in Runaway Train. He played Howard Cosell in Ali. The guy just keeps on going. He just turned 85 years old, and he's got a brand new movie and 2 in development. It's called The Painter. Jon Voight joins us here on Celebrity Salute. This guy just will not stop working. I mean, he's working all the time. Jon, how you doing?
That's funny. Listen, he will not stop working. When is he going to stop working?
Well, I mean, now, if I have this right, you just turned 85 last month, right?
Yes, I did.
All right. And you're in a new movie called The Painter. You get 2 movies in post-production, including Reagan with her buddy Dennis Quaid. I mean, you just don't slow down.
Yeah, well, I have been working very, very, consistently over the last couple of years, and I'm very grateful for that,
Absolutely.
To be able to be active, especially during the COVID time, I was active during that time.
I mean, we loved you so much in Ray Donovan. You played Mickey. What a great character that was.
Yeah. Yeah, I was very fortunate to be able to do something at that late time in my career, to grab something that ran for 7 years. Was pretty amazing.
It's incredible. Incredible.
Yeah.
And now you're in a movie called The Painter. It's in select theaters now, available to buy on digital pretty soon here. And this is another, you're a tough guy, right?
Well, yes, I would have to say it's one of those guys, yeah. But it's a kind of a tricky thing. It's a fun film. And I don't want to say too much about the character I played, but because it's a whodunit in some ways, and it's an action thriller. But so you don't want to spoil it for people. But anyway, yeah, I play a former head of the CIA, so that's.
Well,
I'll give you that.
You're in this with Charlie Weber and also a young lady, Madison Bailey, who looks like she's tremendous in this thing. She
is. She's great. She's a wonderful actress, and Charlie's great too. I mean, Charlie did some was great in the action stuff. There's a lot of great action stuff in this film, and he was very capable of doing all of this stuff. So these 2 actors were fun to work with.
Jon, I know last time with our audience of active duty military veterans and their families, we talked about your Academy Award winning role as a paraplegic Vietnam War veteran, Luke Martin, in the great war film Coming Home. Did you have any veterans in your family?
Yeah, I had my uncle. I had 2 uncles that were in World War II. So I did have that connection. And my parents were very patriotic guys.
Yeah,
thank God.
Your dad was a professional golfer? Is that true?
Yeah, he was, but he had an accident when he was 18 years old. He was one of these phenoms coming up, and then he had this accident outside Chicago after a tournament, and five players in a car,
oh, wow.
and then somebody came across the line and hit them head on from the other lane, and he developed some problems with his back from that and wasn't able to play on the tour again. So,
wow.
So he had a tragedy, but he never spoke about it. He was a tremendous guy, my dad. Really a wonderful guy.
Right.
So anyway,
that sounds like a movie. That sounds like a movie. Did you play golf too?
Yeah. Well, it did. Yeah, I was pretty good. I wasn't bad. Pretty good when I was young. And of course, I have an affection for Donald Trump's golf. He's a pretty good golfer.
Is that right?
What's that?
Is he good?
Oh yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's a good golfer, and he takes it seriously too. But he was a pretty good athlete. Did you ever see him throw the ball in? They have the president throw the ball in for the first game of the season or whatever it is.
Yeah, the first pitch.
Right? Yeah, and you should look it up because he throws that ball. I'm telling you, he was a baseball player in college, but I mean he throws that ball. Boy, he's zinged it in. I mean, it was fun to watch it. He's an interesting guy. He's a good athlete.
We're based in Kansas City, Missouri, so maybe the Royals should look at him.
Yeah. Well, it was a strike. I'm telling you, it's really interesting. Because you think the guy you root for the president who walks out on that mound, which
right.
is a big deal.
Right.
The mound's maybe 2-3 feet above the rest of the ground, so it's a very different thing to throw from that to the catcher. It's quite a distance, right?
Yeah.
So you see these presidents, and they're not all athletically gifted people,
right? Right.
Some of them are quite silly, but they worry about it. How am I going to do? Because anybody can make a
right.
wrong move or whatever and throw the ball away or something else. But
have you ever done that? Have you ever thrown out the first pitch?
No, I've never been asked to do it. I'd be scared to do it, but I would probably warm up a couple of days before. Just test out my arm after all this time.
Yeah.
But it was really fun to watch that. That was really fun.
You know who else? Which other president threw out a great first pitch was George W. Bush.
He made a strike for sure.
He did. He did make a strike. And it's funny that your new movie is called The Painter because we had George W. Bush on this show when he released his first book of paintings, and he painted.
Yes, he's a good painter.
He's a good painter.
Yeah.
He has
a nice style. It's a quite nice thing. And he did that thing about the vets.
Yeah.
He did a lot of pictures of the vets. Great. It was terrific, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. That was very cool.
Right.
And were you aware, John, that there is a documentary about your groundbreaking movie that you were in about Midnight Cowboy?
Yeah, I was aware of it, yeah.
Yeah.
I was interviewed for it, and then they put it in the picture, too.
So what, I didn't realize this until I was looking back at it. You play Joe Buck in this movie, and then it was also the only X-rated movie that ever got the Oscar for Best Picture. That's incredible. Right.
Yeah. Well, it was. Yeah, it was a groundbreaking film. I was proud of the film. I think the film had a lot to say, and the Catholic Church amazingly made a statement about its humanitarian aspect, its humanity, and gave it a great review. And I think it had something to do with, imprimatur of the Catholic Church with that movie seems like incredibly crazy, but I think it was appropriate. Actually, there's something in the film that's it's about something about humanity that is struck in that film that is important, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that comes through in all of your roles too, Jon. I mean, whether it's Deliverance, whether it's Midnight Cowboy, Coming Home. I mean, you bring that kind of humanity to it. And one of those movies also, Deliverance, there's also a documentary out right now about Burt Reynolds, who starred with you in that. And I guess Burt made a big deal about when he posed naked for Playboy. He thought that ruined his chances and everybody else's chances in a movie of getting an Oscar.
Yeah, Burt was always pursuing that Oscar, I think. And so he would think about that kind of thing. But he also was a wild guy, and he did what he did. I mean, he did that naked picture for Playgirl or whatever it was called, and he was having fun. Burt was. I love Burt. Burt was fantastic, and in the film, as an actor, he was magnificent. So,
absolutely.
When you leave that film, you think it was Burt's film in many ways.
Yeah, and very underrated, I think, and just always a great sense of humor, smile on his face. I mean, just a cool guy. Very talented guy. And also, like when he did Evening Shade, he came to a certain point in his career, and then he decided to do Evening Shade, this series on television, and he hired all of his buddies, Charlie Durning and several of his best friends, to do the film, to do that series, and it was a successful series. And it was a terrific series. It was. I remember that.
And that was like a weekly thing. It was quite extraordinary. He was a big talent.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, but he also had this kind of this fun side. He's a playful guy and a great guy. As I say, I love Burt Reynolds.
I think one of your most maybe underrated roles, or maybe people. I just appreciated it so much when you were in Ali and you played Howard Cosell, almost unrecognizable. Yeah.
Well, that was when Michael Mann called me up. He said, "What do you think about playing Howard Cosell?" And I have to give Michael credit for something. I don't know how he knew that I could play Howard Cosell. I knew I could play Howard Cosell because I knew I was as tall as Howard Cosell. I knew I was very good with makeup, and I knew I could impersonate him without overdoing it. I knew, and I loved Howard Cosell, and I loved Ali and Howard Cosell together. Those guys,
absolutely,
right?
And the best.
Yeah, it was. They turned each other on. These two guys.
Yes,
I mean, Ali was not only, the great boxer, he was also a great personality and a great kind of performer.
Absolutely.
And in order to do that, he had to have a partner. It was like Laurel and Hardy or something like that. Laurel wouldn't have been Laurel without Hardy, So it was something like that. When those two got together, and it probably just happened because Howard wanted to interview him, and then he said, okay, and they did it, and all of a sudden they found out they had this kind of crazy chemistry together.
I mean, and it's like me and you.
Anyway, yeah, exactly. It was just on the tip of my tongue.
Did at any time during the making of Ali, did Will Smith ever try to slap you?
That's funny. Well, that's a tragic thing. I think that whole thing with Will and the slap. I mean, it goes back into his relationship, I think, with his mother and father. There were incidents incidents in the home that he, never got over, I think. And that was, he talked about that in the book he wrote. So, So anyway, I think there was something, a lot of heavy stuff going on at that time.
John, it's always a pleasure.
I enjoyed working with Will.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you, man. Thank you so much for never slowing down. The new movie's called The Painter, and you can check it out right now. Thank you, John.
Great. God bless.
You've been listening to Celebrity Salute. Celebrity Salute is produced by Brainstorm Media and distributed by National Defense Network, with host Randy Miller and executive produced by Nate Herron. Be sure to visit us at nationaldefensenetwork.com. This podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also say, Alexa, play the National Defense Network podcast.